Hello pilots and welcome. I wish you a very warm welcome to this EXODE recording. I do this very rarely and I would like to do this a lot more. I think giving feedback to the community is important and that recordings can also help many players even much later to understand some content. So today we are going to browse all the content about the food update. There are many features in this, and in fact, I never expected this to be this kind of a fantastic ride in coding, but also this intensive 10 weeks work on the food update and other related contents. But as it turns out, it will never have worked as well differently, and I hope you'll see that if you can stick with me until I explain all the contents on when it finally clicked in. I plan food to be a huge part in initial EXODE content in colorization because food can be consumed, so you can produce it, consume it, send away teams to collect back ingredients. And the fact that players could also trade it means that it would be an excellent test in an EXODE circular economy. Food update relies on very individual food items that you have on your planet. So this means that actually food is heavily tied to the procedural generation of your planet. So all your food items are unique. And this will also test one way of crafting content in EXODE, which is crafting is usually in many MMORPGs. It is like a late game content. But when you think about crafting in a game like that, and even more in a blockchain game, you can dedicate a lot of thinking into it because you want it to be reliable and to be able to produce many elements and to have many features that could be tied to it with the objective of making players able to create unique content. So unique content is something that is so much missing in blockchain games in particular, because, and this is especially a serious problem here, because we never want two players to sell the exact same thing, because if they do, they try to find the lowest possible price to be able to sell their stuff. So this means that it is always beneficial to have an engine capable of producing unique contents, and EXODE is almost entirely built around that. Okay, so this means that, yes, it does take more time than just a single scene with two players fighting each other. EXODE takes a lot more time because it is a very large, engaging universe with a lot of PvE elements. And I think all blockchain games trying to do PvE means that they must have some kind of content that can, repeat itself, be played again, and have different results. Otherwise, they turn into being a Ponzi, or disguised Ponzi, I would say. So, you know that EXODE is heavily positioned in terms of ethics in blockchain. That is something that we should hear about more. Ethics in blockchain. We have a full 360 degrees ethical approach to what we do. And I hope you can appreciate that, because this has results in our value is protected for players. So, without delaying things further, we will see in this video all the work that has been done. You will see work done on food properties, food buffs and debuffs, food preparation, dishes, menus, food tools, workplace, practical experience, food design points, new resources that have been added at top bar, and most of the work was done on new presentation elements. So most of these 10 weeks have been spent into all of that. I admit that I started this after a rush just before Christmas, after the December 23rd. And initially, I had a family break, of course, on Christmas. I limited that to the least possible time, but it was, of course, nice to make some kind of break, like something just a little more than a 2 days break. And it started slower than I wanted, initially, that food update. But I thought it was okay. I could take some time to, put your ideas in place, test a few presentation elements, and see if what you had planned already was enough. And I saw that it was not enough. So today we are the 13th March 2025. EXODE alien attack happens in exactly 300 years. So I consider this year to be one very important year to make announcements, distributions, to make EXODE known, as was the objective already last year or even the year before, when in 2023 we released a new website and a new approach to communication and presentation. EXODE Manager came out last year. This is the interface we use here, and is a nice way to propose, scale on new content. So the 10 weeks have been an intensive ride, and as it turned out, this would have never worked until even what was added 3 days ago. Yes, exactly. 3 days ago, I finally was able to test some of the mechanics that I did in the food update, and that really worked very well once presented. So let's get into it now, if you would allow me. I'll just take a quick moment to say that this is an unscripted dialogue that I give you here, and to apologize, of course, for my possible French accent. So it is just a natural conversation I am giving you guys. So please forgive any kind of slip in my language or accent or the words I use, because I don't want, to spend all time re-recording it or doing some other stuff. You need me to code and to deploy gameplay. So this video is a bonus and is something extremely important to help you navigate the mechanics of the food update. Of course, my video is long. There will be shorter videos to better explain things to players in a condensed format. Now, we added some resources so early in January, I think. So there is energy that is now introduced in EXODE, and water. The important thing here is that we always speak about the resource and how it is tied to what you can find on player market or from players. For the water update, for instance, I mentioned that initially water will not be required. Okay, you have some of the things to master first in food before we get into water consumption. But I already mentioned water. You already see it on the top bar. You can prepare yourself for that, and you can even try to take some water hydrogen converter units, or what is called also the WHC content that you can find on Starbase Market. And I made a Discord post today about that. But our Discord post, remember that there will be the secret files that will be deployed to EXODE website later this month. This is an immense update in terms of fun and lore and mystery, and also unique features. As always, and this is mostly targeted to alpha players here, I know that you have been with me for a long time supporting the game, and this is extremely important, and you know that I protect player assets. And secret files is another way to get your hands on something that covers another of the angles in EXODE that is very important to the game, that players will understand quickly, because we speak about aliens here, and some very original features and fun features. So I hope we will be able to take part. There will be only 80 packs released, at about $50. So this means 4,000 USD volume, which, as you can understand, sustains EXODE for about 1 month or 1.5 months. So this means that getting such contents out is very important for the development company, but also that we discover that we always have something very original, very easy to protect in value because it has some utilities that players can perceive into it, and lasting utility because it is unique. As you'll see in the Discord post, the secret file has some very unique perk and feature tied to it. Now I will continue back to the food update. So you have already food items on your colony. You can check that by clicking on your planet here. See, I use the cursor help, and then clicking on exploration and food. So this will show you your list of food items, but you could also click on your assets and food reserves to have a better overview of the current food units you have already stockpiled on your planet. When you send away teams, they will collect some more units which will be added to that. So you have to understand that a player could just do that and do nothing else, and his citizens will eat whatever is available on his colony. Okay, so if you are still with me, you can take a little break to understand that, to prepare for the rest of the content, because going forward, this may be a bit intense in the content you will see. So players can just collect food and have their citizens eat about everything. So doing that, you will not have a control on the buffs and debuffs your citizens will receive, or the toxicity they will endure, or if they like or not like play it or not. This will also increase chances for them to dislike some ingredients if they take them this way. And this will lead also to spoiling food, because as you will see, by doing cooking, you can prepare more units and more portions of food with the same number of units. Let's get into that now. So to craft food, you just have to navigate to your planet, production, and create new food. It's very self-explanatory, right? We try to put in green the menus we want players to navigate. We want navigated by players. So when you click on create new food, you will have your cooking team if you have one set already. Otherwise, you'll have to get to current teams to do that. So you have a current cooking team that will be displayed here, and its cooking skill that will be displayed here. I won't explain the inner calculation of the cooking skill. Let's just say that it depends on your leader performance and the members' performance. So you can have one leader and one cooking member, meaning a team of 2, and it can be enough to have a good skill output and start going. EXODE is always very adapted to large colonies or small colonies. They just have a different kind of focus. Large colonies will want to have away teams always active to find new food and content to be consumed at the colony, and we'll have larger teams at work on the colony itself. But smaller colonies can have a more focused and protective approach to their colony members. So you have your team here, and this is one of the presentation panel we have worked on. So most of the 10 weeks were actually spent on refining and using and doing further updates and new presentation elements we were using. So we'll be using new selection list, what we call also toast messages, off canvas, radar charts, block display, tools and teams as you see here, and other new interactive tables. So there were a lot of interactive elements that were made during these 10 weeks, and a lot of back-end work as well, a lot of procedural work. I know that some players, one player or some, may have reported that, okay, they did not really understand the pace of deployment at EXODE, and it's natural to have this feedback. But as you will see, there are a lot of elements, be it in presentation or backend. This is no simple game here, and this is a game in blockchain with a decentralized economy, with players able to craft things and exchange things, and also to have control on the economy. This means that more often than not, we sell something and then it's no longer into our hands. And we need to have a balanced approach on content, but also a fun approach. So there are a lot of simulation elements in EXODE, making the game ultra complex, and maybe too complex, but also presentations that try to refine that. The food update is one such thing. You can play without cooking, or you can play with cooking your own food. The choice is yours. If you decide to cook, you will place a cooking team, and you will be able later, we did not need that yet, so it's not available yet, to pick a workplace. Initially, your team works on the shipwreck, and there is a wiki article that I wrote that explains how that works in terms of bonuses, or in that case, no bonuses when you work with the shipwreck and without a designated workplace. You will have access to tools that will be part of your beta boosters. Actually, there are a lot of cooking tools there, so you should really think about keeping some boosters around and maybe taking some more. You can also activate or not activate what is called eating. So if you click on that, it will activate a +10 bonus to your cooking skill, but it will also, you see the little energy icon there, it will also consume 1 more energy point when you do cooking actions. You can decide so not to activate eating. You will have a pool of design points that can be used for crafting your food. Your team will also generate design points. Initially, we think that it should be half of its key value, meaning that this team will generate about 39 design points every day. I've wrote a wiki article to explain more things about crafting and design points, so please get back to our wiki if you want to know more after this video. So initially, the only action you will be able to do is to prepare food for cooking. It will cost 30 design points. There were a lot more actions during these 10 weeks that were made or tested or approached, but I decided to remove a lot of that. So initially you can just prepare food for cooking, and then you will be able to choose a food item. When you choose that, you will see a list of all the food you have on your colony. You can again click some more info to see more information about it. So you see here one of the presentation elements, which is the off canvas, and some other which are the weather charts. We made more weather charts in January and February. These weather charts are really a good way to visualize your food properties, even if it can be a bit complex. So we separate it in two. You have the most important is here with the nutritive power of your food, the taste, the looks, and the size, which are very important when composing your food, and the fragility of the element, which determines if it's easy or not to prepare. Akijasham spring minced meat, which is the name of this ingredient, is not very fragile, so it's rather easy to prepare. It is also rather sweet, salty, and greasy. So the second weather chart is not used as much as the first one, but we should take a look at the sweetness and the saltiness first, because they are the first used in our simulation. Other properties will get more importance later. So below that, you now have the food buffs and debuffs. There are a number of parameters which can appear here and at varied strengths. Debuffs are usually related to the toxicity of the food item. So we see that accusation spring meat is accentuating as if used as main course, meaning that it gives more power to the factors of other food items you put in there. And it is also unpractical to manipulate, meaning that preparation chances will be lowered by 6 points. Below that, you have what we call the block display. Instead of displaying values in terms of percentage, I've decided to propose some kind of blocks, and you see all that works even better later. So Acquisition Springs Meat is available in a huge block of nearly maximal size because we see 5 yellow squares here. I'll close that panel to show you another food such as my Hawaii Sparwards, which are very sweet and with an excellent smell and an immense taste, and they are rather small. So you see my Hawaii Sparwards take much less size, and they also give a lot of buffs. This one really adds some luck in its generation. I think it may even borders to being a bug, honestly. I should have to check that because 4 buffs is a lot. But actually it's normal because 2 of them are only available as specific dishes. So it is concentrating too, comforting, meaning gives happiness to whoever eats it, that's immense. It's absorbing, meaning it can neutralize negative factors in other food, and it's absorbing as appetizer, which is great because appetizers are the first thing you eat in a menu. So everything is interesting in my wards, and if I check my toxic mushrooms, they have an immense smell, very sweet, very salty too. Yes, food can be both, actually. They are so fragile, so they are much harder to prepare. Toxic mushrooms are awakening, meaning they give a bonus to all mental skills. So this means that you want to prepare menus with your mushrooms here for your research teams and other things, okay? So that begins to be interesting here. They are also unengaging, meaning that positive social event chances are reduced. Because people just don't go at eating that and socialize around it. I will like to show you one other that I saw just before the video. I think it's a Lulu nuts. So it's important here that I take a little pause to explain things to you. I did a lot of properties to food, and then I spent a lot of time to add weather charts and ways to navigate all these attributes. The reason why I make so many attributes in a simulation is because it's very important to be able to develop unique properties and also to plug in extra content such as your cards, your skills, your new perks, abilities you will gain with levels and so on, could be plugged to this or that mechanic because it's already in the engine and you can add bonuses there. It has a lot of sense actually. But it, of course, it creates a burden on presentation, and I really can't do the best presentation with all that content as myself, an indie, very easily. It's really hard to do that. So I do my best, guys, to really allow us to have interface elements to navigate that content. Also, a lot of interesting procedural content. EXODE is maybe going to be the best simulation instead of the number of properties and unique properties and procedural properties you have on your planet right now as a blockchain game, and I want to continue doing that. So I wanted to focus on the Lulu nuts because as you see, it is nutritive as immense states, but it's also very sweet and it is relaxing as dessert. So remember that because I will get back to it very soon. So I will prepare this Lulu nuts, and you see we have big buttons here, but also information about what happens. There are 4 quantities of Lulu nuts in my storage. I will use 1 when I click on prepare this. This is the key of my team and the chances of success. When you prepare food, you will make 5 items to prepare 1 potion. I'll click and I'll see what happens. So we have a little waiter here, and rolls are being made. And I cut the sound here, but there will be some sound effects that I've worked on that will add to our build. So you have seen rolls being made, you have seen experience being gained, and you have seen some Lulu nuts appearing here in a new table. Now I can just click on that to select some Lulu nuts and choose a dish type for them. Now you see a panel appearing with the different dishes I can prepare for my nuts. And please, yes, okay, you can nose on that expression. that's fun. But you could say that's what she said as well for the ones who know the reference. But okay, let's continue now. So you have many dish types here for my nuts. And we can click on other buttons here, like show compatibility scores, and this adds something extremely important now. If I add them, we see that we can create appetizers, first courses, main courses, side dishes, and so on. And there are a lot of properties here. It may not be very clear initially for a player to have all that information, okay? So I added the button show compatibility scores. I invite you to click on that. You will see that my oh my god, why did I pick something called this way? So my nuts that's totally stupid. So I see the compatibility of that with the various dishes being proposed. So I see that it has 64% compatibility for appetizer because of the size of it. They are too big. And I see that it has only 38% compatibility with saltiness expected for an appetizer. They are not salty enough. And the compatibility here will be the lowest you have on the criteria. So these nuts are not very good to use as an appetizer, okay. They're also not very good as a first course because they are too big and they are not salty enough, but they have enough taste, so that part is covered. They are also really average as a main course, and I'll go on and say that they are actually very good as dessert. They have enough size, they are maybe too big, and slightly too salty, but they have the right sweetness. And if you take all the criteria, only size is an issue here, so I can pick that. So you will see that there are some features that are deactivated for now. Normally you can transform an ingredient before using it as a dish. And when you transform it, you can cut it, halve it, make a powder out of it, or sauce or something. The different forms you can choose are more difficult to make, but they have an effect on some properties. I remove that feature for now because we don't need that yet. Just like we don't need to be able to combine several ingredients together, like you make a salad of several ingredients in it. This is planned, but this may make things a bit too complex right now. So I decided to stick to preparing food, picking a dish type, and naming your menu, and it's done. So I picked dessert for the Lulu nuts, and now I can call that the nut menu, or maybe not something else. That could be a private joke. The Lun menu, well, maybe without the E here. And I choose to make now a continental menu or travel ration. They have different criteria in that. And I can create the menu. So your team will make the menu, and then it will appear here below the London menu. And it will have stamina that it will give, and buffs and debuffs. So right now, in that version of the development, there are some bugs preventing buffs, debuffs, and from being displayed. But I wanted to tell you now why I picked this ingredient. If you click on more info here, you'll see the ingredient properties. And you see that the Lulun is relaxing as dessert. they give social skills plus 10, which will give you more positive relationship, and meaning citizens could be better friends with each other and so on, which is a very positive factor, something that will also avoid some negative events, such as physical disputes or wars. So having something relaxing is important, and it's even relaxing as dessert, which is very interesting because it's also the thing that works best for the Lulun. So here I want us to pause a bit and to think about what I said when I said that the last additions to the engine on display really made things work. So when you were making ingredients, preparing food, picking stuff, initially the player lacked agency in what were displayed, meaning there were a lot of parameters here. We could understand that, yes, it's important for something to have taste or to be nutritive, and yes, have some persons displayed. But it's not something that the player can, take as his own agenda. So once I did the buffs, the food buffs here, and once I made it so that buffs could be related as specific dishes bonuses, meaning that this one works as dessert, for instance, another will work will have a specific buff as main course, and so on. You begin to create something that the player can get into, meaning that, okay, once I start picking dishes, I notice that, yes, I would like a main course, I would like a dessert and stuff like that. And then I say, oh, the best food item I have for dessert is this one. And additionally, it has a buff as dessert. So I really want now to experiment with that and to make the kind of maximal output of my ingredient and to pick the best thing and to make the best dessert, and then to blow the mind of all the players when I put it on the market to say, hey, guys, on my planet, I have the best dessert right now, so check this. And, it gives players an agency on the objectives that he gives himself to be able to explore the rest of the content and to connect things together. So this addition of specific dish types and bonuses began to make everything work. It's really important that you see that. So that's the point in game design, in that sometimes it's really you need to push it forward, and to accept that players will find that it's coming late, or why does it take so much time? But the content would have been a total mess, chaotic mess, without any purpose you find into it, if I would have released it without that. Okay, and I should even push it further to make sure it's good, because it can guide me later in other crafting sections. When doing crafting for other contents, I will use the same principles and the same presentation elements. It will be a guiding principle. And you can't, do some food, make it a bit broken, even without doing as much as you could do in your first step, and then you will never get back to it because there's so many areas in EXODE that need work. Instead, I decided to push it and to have it in some formats that I find acceptable to navigate, and with some elements that can give some agency to the player. This is the only way that it can work, and this allows me to scale later on other crafting sections. So yes, things take some time, and sometimes even more time that I can spend. I initially never planned 10 weeks on such a feature, because when you do that in computer science, you then take 20 weeks or more. I initially planned something that would take about 2 weeks, and then I can have some problems in the interface, I can add some feature, I can have some other feature I need to work on, and this delays things. Here I did ideas into it, really, and presentation elements and so on, which I will reuse in later EXODE content. So we can be happy, I think, in this, because crafting and player-made content and things that can be consumed is part of a circular economy, and we so rarely have that in blockchain games, and it's so important to have that in blockchain games. So guys, EXODE Pirates, I would like to free you now. I know this has been a very long conversation that I sent here, a very long recording. I would like to thank you for your patience, to thank you for understanding, and to thank you for your outstanding support